Hello everyone and welcome to my newest series entitled Cubase for Composers, which is specifically designed and curated for composers such as yourself, transitioning to digital music and recording software. And today I will tell you how you can set up your audio and MIDI devices. So let's go. When you open Cubase, you get to this bit of a intimidating interface, which after a while you're going to get used to it. But yeah, in the beginning it's going to be a bit scary. Other than that, everything regarding audio and MIDI is in this Studio drop-down. Once you click on it, you just go to Studio Setup, all right, and go into your MIDI port setup. And once you're here, if you haven't already connected your MIDI device, you can simply just plug it in. Voila, it's gonna come, voila, voila. Yeah, there it is. So this is Cubase telling us that your key station, my key station Mini 32 MK3, which is a tiny keyboard, has an input and an output port, and it is active. Both these ports are active, and it's going to be visible for use. And all of its MIDI ports and inputs are going to be active. Okay? So now at this point, if you click on your keyboard or your pad that you connected, it should show this thingy. Where is it? Here? There? Yeah, here. See? It should show this thingy right here. The indicator. This is basically telling you, hey, Cubase is getting the information, so your MIDI works, okay? And if it doesn't, you can actually click on this. This is a MIDI monitor. It gives you more information. So it's basically telling us that key station Mini 32 is connected, and it's going to show you the information regarding your MIDI. So for example, sometimes you have a broken key in a controller and maybe that doesn't work and you think your controller is broken, but it's just that key. And then you try it here, and as you can see, the name of the note is here and the value is there, and etc, etc. This is really valuable tool here. I'm going to close it right now, and I'm going to go back to Studio Setup. And if you, by any chance, it wasn't working at all here, I mean your MIDI, either your problem is with your cable, can be with the device itself, it can be your USB port, and it can also be your driver. So make sure that all of this stuff are good, and it should just work with plug and play, and the other stuff, if they are ticked, it should work flawlessly. And you might see this here, MIDI remote controller. We don't want to talk about right now. We're going to talk about it later because it's not really time for that. I'm going to click on OK here. And later I will tell you how you can add instruments and stuff. But just now, for this tutorial, I'm going to add an instrument here. So if I press here, you're going to see all of the stuff in Cubase, you know, the meters are working, but there's no sound. So what's the problem? As you can see here, Cubase has this valuable status line here, status bar, and it's showing us some different information. Audio inputs, it's saying it's not connected. Audio outputs, also not connected. Control room, Max record time, it is there because it's on my hard drive or SSD, and I have 118 hours and 29 minutes of recording time. My recording format is 48 kilohertz and 24-bit. Project frame rate is for movies, and this lets you change it. And also this stuff, you can just click on them and change them in this section here. And you have the project pan law, which is just about your panning. If you don't have any prior knowledge to this, just keep it as the equal power. It's gonna work great with everything that you do. And now let's see how we can fix the audio. So go back to Studio, and we go back to Studio Setup here, and look up here. You have this audio system thingy, all right? And below here, it should be written something. Either it's like generic or Steinberg, or you have already put it on your own interface. So this is showing that, hey, this is the one that Cubase is using. And right here is also showing that this is being used by Cubase. Now, if I click on it, you're going to see a range of different stuff. For example, I have FL Studio, so ASIO, FL Studio ASIO, and because I have FL Studio installed, and you have the generic and Steinberg. For example, if you're using your laptop or even your computer and you don't have an audio interface, you can just use Steinberg built-in ASIO driver. Just click on switch and it will be switched to that. But now we're gonna work with an external audio interface. Make sure it's connected and it's on. I'm gonna click on this guy, UA 101. Just click on OK, all right? And now, as you can see, nothing happened here. And this is a weird part in Cubase, which you gotta get used to, that they separated the connections with the audio interface. So this part here, you see a studio. If you click on studio, you have audio connections. I'm gonna click on that now. Whoop, it was behind. Where are you? Audio connections. There you are. Are you behind this guy? Yeah. Okay, let me close this. Okay. So this is my audio connections. Okay. Audio connections here, the whole system here is basically saying, okay, Cubase knows what your audio device is, okay, or lets you select it. And then this part is just about plugging in the appropriate cables that you need for your work. Okay, so for example, you need from this device to that device, you need from your interface to another speaker, to this speaker, to speaker B, speaker A, blah, blah, okay? And for that, you have the input. For example, you want to connect the guitar here. You have the output. You want to connect your output to your speakers or other stuff. You have groups and effects. For example, if you want to use a external effect, or you want to make some buzzes here, which we will talk about later in the line. And then you have external effects here, as I said, external instruments, and you have control room. And this is the one that is interesting for now, okay? And we want to give our outputs to control room. And there is a reason that I'm going to do this, and I will tell you in a bit. And that is, well, actually I'll tell you in a bit, but let's check this now. Woohoo. Click on the audio device and click on your audio interface if it's already not there. And you have the device ports. These are basically the physical jacks on your interface, okay? So what you can do is that click on them and again click on the name again. And as you can see, if it's red, it means it's being used. And now it's a bit goofy because it's being used exactly on this port and it's being read. So it's like, hey, I'm being used on myself. So we don't care because we also see that it's monitor 1 and it's right. And you can also understand the left and right on your ports with the numbers here. So if you have out 1 and 2 and out 1 and 2, 2, this means that you have your first and this is your second output. And this is your third, this is your fourth output. 5 and your sixth output, okay? It's a bit weird, but on your interface might be different, but for me, it's a bit goofy and it looks like this, okay? Now I'm gonna click on this. As you can see, all set up and good. And I'm gonna lower the volume on this because it might, yeah, okay. Ooh, we have a little bit of a weird sound. As you can see, the sound is coming out. But then why did I tell you I'm gonna put it on the control room? That is because if you're in control room, you have access to this knob here, which can be handy because it lets you control the sound. And this is separate from your master output, okay? So whatever you change here, it's not going to change your master output. If you get an export, it's not going to change the volume of your export, but this is just a monitoring sound. So it's just about the sound that you hear. And if I lower it, I can just raise it back up, and you have a handy dim here. So for example, you're working on a project, you still want to hear it, and your friend is next to you. Instead of lowering that, you just click on dim, it dims it. Okay, and then you click it again, dim goes away. And if you want to access this, if you didn't know where it is, it's on the right side and in this CR tab. And even if you didn't see this, you have access to it on the top here. This basically enables you to see the panels, okay, which I will talk about in the next videos. And yeah, and the last important thing that I want to tell you guys is that if you disconnect your interface and you want to use another interface, for example, your internal or your external audio interface after in a project, Cubase is not going to do that automatically. So you need to do the choosing again. For example, if I turn off my UA 101 here, next time I use Cubase, it's going to probably pop into generic low latency ASIO, and which this is fine by now, but then it's going to show here control room not connected, because you're going to come back again to control room and click on your outputs and select your outputs again. And if the audio device is not connected, you need to also click on this again and it will be set up again. It's a bit of a bother, but it is what it is. In the next video, I will tell you how you can add notes and write some stuff down and a little bit more of the stuff in Cubase so you can explore your own potential and hopefully make some awesome music. And I hope that you really enjoyed this video, and if you did, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and see you in the next video.